Hi everyone, my name is Adil and welcome to my channel. This is my very first video and I'm starting this channel to share with you some of the projects I'm building at the intersection of AI, coding and creativity. Today I want to show you something I recently built, a P5.js code editor that you can control just by talking to an AI model. It is powered by a technology called MCP. In this video, I'll explain what MCP is, walk you through the use case and show you how to run the app in your local environment. You'll find links to the source code and the full blog post in the description. Let's get into it. What is MCP? MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It is an open standard protocol created by Anthropic in November 2024. MCP provides a standardized way to connect LLM to data sources, custom tools, and internet services. If you want to connect an LLM to external tools without MCP, you will need to hardcode within your app the logic to connect the LLM to the tools and the logic to choose which tool to use, plus the parameter parsing and error handling. The goal of MCP is to simplify this whole process by providing a protocol that makes it easy connecting LLM to tools and data sources. MCP involves three components: MCP hosts, which are programs like AI assistants or code editors that support MCP. Cursor and Claude desktops are two popular hosts. In this project, we'll be using Claude desktop. MCP clients, which are built into the host. They manage the connection to the MCP server and handle all the communication behind the scenes. And MCP servers, which are where the actual tools and data live. They expose things like APIs, documents, or actions that the AI can use. In this use case, since we are using Claude Desktop as host, we only had to build the MCP server. There are three types of MCP servers: official MCP servers provided by companies to connect LLMs to their data and services, community MCP servers created by the open source community that you can find on GitHub, and custom MCP servers that you can build by yourself. To get started with MCP, you can go to modelcontextprotocol.io and you can follow their tutorials. You can implement MCP servers in different programming language. In this use case, we are using TypeScript. Now that you know what MCP is, we can focus on the use case. So my goal is to create a P5.js editor that I can control using Claude Desktop and an MCP server. P5.js is a JavaScript library that is used by artists, designers, and anyone who wants to learn how to code and create digital art. If you go to editor.p5js.org, you can play with the library. So we start with an empty canvas, and here I can write some simple code. For example, circle 200, 200, which is the pixel location, 50, 50, which is the size. I'm able to draw a circle in the middle. I can add color to the circle. So basically, P5.js provides functions and building blocks that you can use to create digital creations. If you go to my blog, you can see some of the things you can build using P5.js. So basically, my goal is to recreate this editor by adding AI capabilities into it. I'll be able from Claude Desktop to be able to describe what I want, and LLM will generate the code for me and send this code to the editor using the MCP server. Now that we understand the use case, we can work on the implementation. So first, go to the GitHub repository where this project is stored. You can find the link in the description. So I copy here and I go to a terminal and I do git clone and the URL to the project. Then from an IDE, I'm using Cursor, I can open the project. So I go desktop and I have it installed here, open. So this is a Next.js application, and inside this Next.js application there is another folder called P5.js MCP server TS. This is where the source code of the MCP server is. Regarding the architecture, there is 4 elements. First is Claude Desktop. I will show you later how to do the setup for Claude Desktop. Then we have the MCP server, where we have the different tools that connects Claude Desktop to the P5.js editor. We have the WebSocket. WebSocket is an application that links the MCP server to the P5.js, and we have the P5.js editor, which is similar to the editor that I showed you earlier, but this version works, is AI enabled and works with the Claude Desktop. So in the folder that we just opened, you can see here, this application here is basically the P5.js editor. We have one file called WebSocket bridge, is the source code for this WebSocket. And inside this folder, we have the implementation of the MCP server. So I need to install the dependencies. Here I need 2 terminals. So the first one, to install the dependencies of the web application, I do npm install here. And I open another folder where I entered into the P5.js MCP server implementation, and I do npm install, and I do npm run build. Next, let's do Claude Desktop setup. So first you need to have Claude Desktop installed in your computer. I have it installed here. If not, you can just go to the claude.ai download and you can find the one that works in your machine. And from the terminal, I created one file that is called setup Claude. So inside the P5.js MCP server, I can do node and setup. And here it gives me this information that I can follow. The most important is this JSON in here. So I copy this, and from Claude, I can open setting, developer, edit config, and I open this JSON file in editor, and I copy that. And if I close Claude and open it again, I should see these tools appearing in there. So I open it again. You can see here, if I click, you can see the P5 editor tools. So I have 13 tools that are installed as part of my MCP server. Okay, next, let's run our WebSocket bridge and the P5.js editor. So if I go to the terminal, I need 2 terminals, one for the application itself. So I do npm run dev. And here I go to the localhost 3000, and I can see my web editor. So I open a new project, and you can see here this UI that is similar to the P5.js editor that I showed earlier. So this one, you can see here, it comes with like a sample project, and there is this button called enable MCP. So if I click this enable MCP, it should connect to the MCP server, but before that I need to start my WebSocket bridge. So to run the WebSocket bridge, I need to open another terminal, and I do node WebSocket bridge server JS, and that's it. It's already running. Then I can go next to my editor, and if I click this enable MCP, you can see that it's connected to the MCP server. Okay, next I open my Claude desktop application. You can see here that I have the tools already installed. So what I can do is write something like create a P5.js sketch that draws random colored circle and send it to the editor. If I execute this, Claude will understand that it needs to create the code, and it's using one application called update code. And you can see automatically it's updated my code in here in the background. So now that you saw the application running in action, we need to understand how this MCP server is working. So as I said earlier, within the folder there is this P5.js MCP server TS. Inside there is the source index. So this is where the implementations of the MCP server is. So here I'm following exactly the starter example that is in the model context IO. So here there is the TypeScript SDK, and it takes you to a GitHub repository, and it shows you the steps how to create an MCP server and how to do the setup. So I followed that, and you can see here the source code, but I will explain a few elements. So the first one, you can see here how that we are declaring the MCP server. Then we have this function called connects editor, where we are implementing the WebSocket elements. Then the most important in here as a MCP server are the tools. So here you can see all the different tools that I have. So I have 13 tools, and to define a tool, you just do server.tool and the name of the function. And you can see here the different tools that I implemented using TypeScript. So we have a tool to update the code, another to start the execution, stop the execution, and so on and so forth. So you can look at the implementation here and try to add another tool from your side to see how it works. So before closing, let's try another example. Here I'm saying create a particle system where particles are emitted from the mouse position. Each particle should have a random velocity, size, and color, include gravity effects, and send the code to the editor. So let's see if this would work. I have the editor functioning, the MCP server is enabled, and you can see here at the bottom that is connected to the MCP server. Here you can see that it's calling this function update code, and you can see here all the source code that is generated. So just wait a little bit and you will see that the code will be sent automatically to the editor. And you can see it's here and it's working perfectly. I can also ask Claude to generate the documentation for me. So I will say create a readme file, readme.md file, and send it to the editor. So the idea is it will create documentation for this project. You can see here that it's calling another function called create file, and it contains information about, it should contain information about this particle system project. Just wait a little bit, and you can see it's in here. You can see another file called readme.md, and you can see here the details of the project. This is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this project. Please feel free to clone the projects from GitHub and modify it and show me what you can do with it. And also, this is my first video on this channel, so please subscribe and let me know what type of content you would like to see in the future. And thank you very much.